Uh, Thank you for joining us today. So, Goli, I just wanted to start by, could you tell us a little bit about your role as a work incentive planner?
Absolutely. As you mentioned, Work Incentive Planner or WIP, our goal here is to help with planning or providing benefit counseling to participants who receive disability benefits through Social Security. WIPs provide in-depth, personalized, and accurate guidance to help people take advantage of work incentives or work rules that are set about by Social Security, and making sure that when they are receiving services through DOR, they're not at risk of losing their benefits. So all WIPs are available throughout the state of California. We all work for Department of Rehabilitation. We're part of the service team that serves individuals who are the participants that are signed up for the DOR program.
Yeah, so just based on what you're saying, it's a really great way to get help understanding how a lot of these different disability programs and work incentives can apply to you or to each beneficiary. So you're able to work with them one-on-one to kind of help answer that. So that's really great. So I think with that said, I bet a lot of our attendees are kind of wondering, how can a work incentive planner help them as a person receiving a Social Security disability benefit?
Well, for one thing, there's a lot of misinformation about working while on benefits. As a work incentive planner, my role is to help participants understand how Social Security works. We distribute resources, information, so that they can make informed choices about their employment goals with an understanding of what will happen to their benefits. As a work incentive planner, my role is to answer questions about how earned income would affect SSDI, SSI, Medicare, Medi-Cal, and other public benefits. Working with a WIP helps someone understand that they don't have to rely on a disability check forever. Instead, they can take steps to improve their finances through a meaningful career, and I can't begin to tell you how rewarding that is when someone who's able to, for the first time, earn wages and take steps to fulfill their dreams, buy gifts for their family, pay for a vacation, or even start savings for their own home. So there's a lot of benefits to work and employment.
No, absolutely. For everyone on disability benefits, if you had one recommendation that you'd like to share with everyone, what would it be?
Be organized and keep good records. You want to make sure to keep track of your earnings and be sure to report wages to Social Security timely every month. You need a good support system that can help you throughout the process and establish a monthly routine to report your wages to Social Security. There's different ways you can report wages to Social Security, whether it be by going to your local Social Security office, putting your pay stubs in the Dropbox, using the phone applications that you can download on your Android or Apple phone, using the SSA portal to report your wages, or simply by faxing or mailing that information to them. You need to keep good records and keep track of the information that you exchange, the correspondence that you submit. And as a rule of thumb, as both Grace and Kanika mentioned, when you start a job, when your hours at work are reduced, or when your job ends, you need to make sure that information is communicated and Social Security is informed of that. Also, if you want to use the My SSA account, you really need to have the employer's federal tax ID number and provide that information along with your pay stubs when you do report your wages every month. Another tip is to report your wages within the first 6 days of the following month. For instance, if you start a job March 1st, all wages will be due to Social Security by April 6th. And then another thing to note is that it's a timely process. I mean, you're not the only person who's reporting wages to Social Securities. There's a lot of people who are doing this. And so it takes time. So it takes approximately 2 months for SSA to process your wages. And if you've not received correspondence from them confirming receipt of your wages, you want to make sure to follow up and find out if they've received the paperwork you submitted to them. And again, make sure you have submitted the employer's tax ID number for your records so that you can then, moving forward, use the My SSA account, and your employer information is already added to your profile. And that's a really convenient way to report your wages electronically. So if you're on SSI, you can also report wages using the telephone wage reporting system. The national SSA hotline is 1-800-772-1213. There's the SSA Social Security mobile wage reporting application, which you can download using your Android or Apple store for free. And then, of course, the My SSA portal, which is your Social Security account that you create. And again, you have to make sure that you submit your employer's tax ID number.
I wanted to say, I think wage reporting, I think you're spot on with that recommendation because wage reporting, no matter whether you receive SSI, SSDI, any other Title II benefits, the one thing that everyone should do and, is required to do actually is to, report those wages and just finding what method works best for you in your situation. So whether it's using the smartphone application, it's using the automated phone line, it's using that online My Social Security account. These are all great ways to kind of report those wages every month and make sure that you're doing what you need to be responsible for, as a disability beneficiary. So completely agree with you.
Absolutely.
So I think, through this whole webinar, we've covered so many great work incentives. We've talked a lot about, how these might apply in different situations and how they can benefit disability beneficiaries. But I think the one question that always comes up is, how does this apply to me in my specific situation? So I think it's kind of a good segue into, how can someone get assistance understanding the different work incentives available to them? And how can they meet with a work incentive planner?
Absolutely. So the process starts when I really believe that when they start the application process with DOR, obviously they need to know what benefits they're receiving. And so they need to talk to their counselor or their service coordinator and ask for a referral to a local work incentives planner in their team, on their team. Usually the WIP, the work incentive planner, needs a document that the Social Security beneficiary needs to obtain from their local Social Security office, or they can simply call the Social Security 800 number and request this document. The document is called a Benefit Planning Query Report, which provides details of the individual's SSA cash, medical, and work criteria used up to date. Once you get your BPQI, then you notify the work incentive planner, and then you can set up either a virtual meeting or an in-person meeting. The WIP will go over what work incentives are applicable to your situation. Typically, again, this is a service that's provided by DOR to participants of DOR. And alternatively, if you're not currently enrolled with DOR, then you could use the local work incentives planning and assistance project, via the Find Help tool that's on the choosework.ssa.gov.
All right, awesome. So you talked a lot about how work incentive planners provide all these great services. Do you have any, have you worked with any clients that have been successful in kind of gaining employment and utilizing some of these work incentives?
For sure. That's the best part of my job is when I see that the information I've shared has actually enabled someone to move forward with pursuing a career pathway, especially if they've invested all this time and resource and energy working with DOR, whether to obtain a training or to simply find local employment. So, most recently, I've been working with a young lady who receives both SSI and SSDI benefits, and she is what you might call a concurrent beneficiary. But unfortunately, the amount of earnings the money that she was getting for both SSI and SSDI was still not enough to help her with her monthly expenses. So she wanted to increase her earnings potential and establish her credit. And so her DOR team, her counselor, service coordinator, her job coach, as well as her alter regional service coordinator, all of us came together and assisted. And I provided the benefit planning portion of it. And she started a part-time job at a local grocery store and she received supported employment. Her employer was really good. They accommodated her work schedule because she didn't drive, so they helped coordinate her work schedule so she could take public transportation to go to and from work. And with the help of her job coach, she received guidance, self advocacy. She learned communication skills to work effectively with her coworkers, with the supervisors, and acclimate to the world of work. What was really nice is that she eased into it, at first not working a lot of hours as she acclimated to her new role, her new job, and everything was going well. She eventually increased her work schedule, and now she's been working for the past almost 2.5 years at between 32, 36 hours a week. She earns $20 an hour. She's gainfully employed. She brings home approximately $3,000 a month. She's got benefits through her employer. She still has her Medi-Cal because she earns under $58,000. And also, she's able to have a savings account and contribute to her 401k account for her retirement. So it's just been wonderful to see how all of our efforts has come into fruition and see her success. At first we met pretty regularly every few months. We would discuss the progress, her wage reporting, questions she had about both her benefits, because there's different set of rules for SSI and SSDI. And, you know, we kept her on track. She was diligent. She kept track of her own wages. We made a little chart together where she would plug in what she earned every month. And last year her SSI cash benefit ended because she's making more money. And then starting July 2023, her in order to avoid SSDI overpayments, she requested Social Security to suspend her cash payments and while Social Security completes her work activity report. And she's thriving, she's doing really well and able to be independent and off of disability benefits and focusing on her abilities.
Oh, that is an amazing story, and it really shows the full kind of team effort that it is between the individual themselves, their VR counselors, their work incentive planners, and all the others on that kind of vocational rehabilitation team that's there to kind of help them and kind of make sure that they have all the assistance and services they need to kind of attain their goal. And it was really cool to see that with the individual that you're working with, they went from fully depending on those disability benefits to getting gainful employment, being out in the community, being able to earn, over $3,000 per month, which is likely way more than what they were receiving on disability benefits alone, and still have the support of things like the Medi-Cal. And if anything were to happen to that employment, those benefits could always be back there. And, a work incentive planner could kind of assist with any sort of additional information they might need. So that is fantastic. I wanted to ask if you had any final thoughts or takeaways you wanted to share with all of our attendees today.
I mean, there's so much information and so much to ponder on, but it's really important to take it upon ourselves. I mean, yourselves or whoever the participants are, as well as the support team, to be informed, to take ownership of your disability benefits, your monthly expenses, your finances, and learn to know how and what happens if you do this step, or if you want to do something new, or if you want to improve your life. We are all here to support you at DOR as part of your service team, and you're not alone. And whether you're looking for a job for the first time or returning to work after an injury or illness, there's free resources to help you. And work incentive planners are available to provide ongoing support to answer your questions related to your SSA benefits and work, and hopefully giving you some peace of mind to focus on your work goal.